In the vibrant heart of this Bonanza double episode, the script introduces and deepens two of its most memorable supporting figures, Sweet Lundberg and Trapdoor Gregory, Spain, whose contrasting personalities and tangled histories propel the comedic claim dispute into sharper focus, while illuminating the moral ambiguities of life on the Comstock lode. Sweet Lundberg, affectionately called the Swede, emerges as a lovable, bumbling prospector whose good intentions are perpetually undermined by his weakness for whiskey, while Trapdoor Gregory, Spain, represents the darker underbelly of frontier ambition, a slick opportunist with a criminal past on the Barbary coast. Their interplay, filtered through Annie O'Toole's fiery loyalty and the Cartwright's sense of justice, creates some of the episode's richest comedic and thematic moments, showcasing Bonanza's ability to populate its Western world with colorful, deeply human characters who embody the hopes, flaws, and contradictions of the Silver Rush era. Sweet Lundberg first appears in the script through Annie's affectionate yet exasperated recollections. He is the man she grub-staked, the one she loves despite his failings, and the prospector who staked 2 claims in Nevada, only to muddle the details in a haze of alcohol. The script captures his character with warm humor, as Annie recounts how he struck it rich, yet immediately considered trading everything for drink. His arrival later in the story, still somewhat disoriented and defensive, adds layers of charm and pathos. Lundberg's inability to clearly remember which claim he gave to Annie and which he sold in San Francisco becomes the catalyst for much of the conflict. This forgetfulness is not mere comic relief, but a believable trait rooted in the harsh realities of prospecting life, where months of isolation, poor food, and constant temptation led many men to blur the lines between success and self-destruction. In the historical context of the 1860s, Comstock, thousands of men like the Swede poured into Nevada, seeking fortune only to fall victim to the very vices that made survival bearable in such a brutal environment. Bonanza treats him with gentle affection, never mocking him outright, but using his flaws to highlight Annie's steadfast devotion and the redemptive power of loyal relationships. The confrontation between past and present intensifies with the introduction of Trapdoor Gregory, Spain, a figure whose very nickname evokes the shady underworld of San Francisco's Barbary coast, where trapdoors were used to Shanghai unsuspecting sailors into forced labor at sea. Spain's transformation from a low-level thug and pickpocket operator to a would-be respectable mine owner on Nob Hill is classic Western villainy. Yet the script renders him with nuance rather than caricature. His demand to have Annie removed from the claim and the grave of Kevin O'Toole relocated reveals a man driven by cold calculation and old grudges. The explosive recognition scene, where Annie confronts him with their shared history, ranks among the episode's most entertaining sequences. She calls him out as the biggest thug and Shanghai artist who exploited her father, paying him in whiskey rather than fair wages for springing trapdoors. Spain's discomfort and defensive bluster provide sharp comedic timing, while Annie's unfiltered accusations, "You miserable little sniveling blot," deliver satisfying comeuppance, rooted in authentic frontier justice. Adam Cartwright's role as mediator in these encounters demonstrates his principled leadership and growing respect for Annie. Forced to navigate between Spain's legal technicalities and Annie's passionate defense of human rights over strict property law, Adam embodies the Cartwright family ethos of balancing order with compassion. The script follows the chronological flow meticulously as the dispute escalates from verbal sparring to the formal miners' court. Spain's claim that no proper assessment work was done on the site is technically sound under miners' law, yet Annie and Adam counter with the clever argument that digging and filling Kevin O'Toole's grave constitutes a valid exploration shaft. This inventive interpretation of the rules showcases the episode's witty engagement with historical mining regulations, where claims required visible improvements within a short period, often leading to creative interpretations and heated disputes. The drunken deal that initiated the entire mess, Lundberg trading or gifting one claim to Annie while selling the other, highlights the informal, often unreliable nature of transactions in boomtowns. In an era before reliable record-keeping and widespread literacy, such verbal agreements and hastily written claim notices frequently led to fraud and confusion, as seen when both documents appear to reference the same claim number. The script excels in its scene-by-scene depiction of the investigation, the search for Lundberg's tools, marked with his initials, the revelation that a pick and shovel were used to dig the grave itself, and the subsequent courtroom drama. These moments are rich with visual potential, from the dusty claim site to the assembled miners acting as jury, all rendered with Bonanza's characteristic attention to authentic detail. Trapdoor Gregory's villainy deepens as he resorts to bribery, plying the camp's many drinkers with liquor to secure a favorable verdict. This tactic reflects the real corruption that plagued early Comstock justice, where influence and alcohol often swayed outcomes more than evidence. Yet the script maintains its warm tone by contrasting Spain's cynicism with Annie's sincerity and the Cartwright's integrity. Hoss's quiet observation and support, along with Ben's firm but fair presiding over the proceedings, reinforce the family's stabilizing influence. The humorous exchanges, such as Annie's malapropisms, tycoon for tycoon, and her refusal to be cowed by Spain's newfound heirs, inject levity while underscoring class and cultural tensions between the rough Barbary coast, immigrants, and those attempting to climb the social ladder through ill-gotten gains. Thematic exploration in this section is particularly strong. The episode uses Sweet Lundberg and Trapdoor Gregory to examine the clash between loyalty and greed, memory and manipulation, and the redemptive potential of love versus the destructive force of exploitation. Annie's unwavering support for the Swede, even as he wanders off prospecting again, speaks to the power of personal bonds in an uncertain world. Her decision to sell the claim to Spain on her own terms, securing substantial payment plus a percentage of future gross, demonstrates remarkable business acumen, learned partly through her reluctant partnership with Adam. This arc celebrates the entrepreneurial spirit of women on the frontier, who, despite limited formal education, navigated complex dealings with intelligence and heart. Historical context further enriches these characters. The Comstock Lode was rife with figures like Spain opportunists, who exploited workers and jumped claims alongside dreamers like Lundberg, whose strikes sometimes benefited others more than themselves. Bonanza's writing appreciates this duality, using humor to humanize the chaos while gently critiquing the moral costs of rapid wealth. The dialogue, even in its transcribed phonetic form, crackles with authenticity. Lundberg's slurred explanations, Annie's passionate outbursts, and Spain's oily protests all feel true to the period. The pacing builds tension, effectively moving from personal revelations to public confrontation in the miners' court, where community judgment ultimately favors fairness and humanity. Adam's internal conflict, wanting to distance himself from the partnership, yet being drawn deeper by Annie's needs and the quest for justice, adds emotional depth. His growing admiration for her resilience mirrors the audience's own attachment. Scenes where Annie expresses her long-held dreams of living like a lady, only to have them complicated by the Swede's unreliability, and Spain's schemes provide poignant counterbalance to the comedy. The script handles these shifts with masterful control, never allowing the humor to undermine the underlying seriousness of legacy loss and opportunity. By the end of this section, the colorful miners and their dealings have not only entertained, but also illuminated broader truths about the American West. Sweet Lundberg represents the everyman prospector, whose flaws are forgiven through love and loyalty, while Trapdoor Gregory Spain embodies the temptations of greed that the Cartwrights consistently oppose. Their stories intertwine with Annie's to create a satisfying comedic arc that transitions naturally toward the more serious mine safety narrative to come. Bonanza's enduring appeal lies precisely in such character-driven episodes where colorful individuals and their interpersonal battles reveal timeless insights into human nature amid the grandeur and hardship of frontier expansion. The script's appreciation for these figures shines through in every exchange, from Lundberg's sheepish return to Spain's eventual reluctant payout. Through sharp observation and warm humor, the episode celebrates the vibrant tapestry of personalities that made the Comstock Lode a legendary chapter in Western history. In doing so, it reaffirms Bonanza's status as a thoughtful chronicler of the human stories behind the silver strikes, blending laughter, conflict, and quiet wisdom into an unforgettable viewing experience.